Do you ever find yourself waiting to do something until you feel good enough to go out and do it? Like you might want to get good at public speaking before you go out and speak so you don't risk embarrassing yourself. Or you want to get fit before you go running so the neighbours don't see you out of breath before you even get to the letterbox. Now, it might be obvious to say that you don't get good at something by avoiding doing it, but I don't know about you, I still catch myself trying to do that. It never works. But it's also true that pushing ourselves too far out of new territory isn't necessarily good for our learning and growth either. Have a look at these circles and imagine each one representing a different level of challenge for you, and so a different level of comfort. In the middle, green section, your competence is well and truly enough for the challenge you're facing. So you're comfortable knowing that you can handle whatever is thrown your way. So for example, in your current work, you'd probably be in the green or comfort zone whenever you're doing things that are really familiar to you. So you've already built up the ability to handle it without too much stress. Now you're probably feeling pretty chill in your comfort zone. When you step a little way out of your comfort zone into the orange zone, things are turned up a notch. So the challenge is a little bit beyond your ability to handle it. So you're gonna feel uncomfortable here. You might feel a bit more alert, maybe a bit nervous, because you haven't had the experience yet to be able to build up that competence or the confidence. So think about what it was like for you when you first started doing the work that you are doing quite comfortably now. You probably had a lot to learn and it might have felt a bit stressful in the beginning, but your learning curve was probably pretty steep. This zone is called the growth zone, because that little gap between your abilities and the difficulty of your challenges you're facing here means that there's a really good opportunity for you to grow quite quickly, especially if you've got the right support. Now, if we go a few steps further out, we come to the red zone, the freak out zone, where the challenges you're facing are so far beyond your current skill levels that you're not really able to do what's required. You're likely to feel completely overwhelmed, perhaps some anxiety, fear, self-doubt. These emotions can get so strong that they get in the way of your learning. And there's so much of a gap between your competence and the level of challenge you're facing that building a bridge directly across them is just not really going to work. We've probably all experienced being out there from time to time. It's really not much fun. Now, all of us have different experiences and different skills, so the challenges that lie in each of these circles will be different for all of us, and they'll change depending on context too. So I might be completely comfortable speaking in front of people in my book club, but way into my growth zone when I'm speaking in front of a group of strangers. But once I've done it enough time, speaking in front of strangers will become more and more comfortable until one day I might find I'm not even out of my comfort zone to do it. Understanding the concept of these circles can be really helpful for a lot of things in our lives, like learning and growth, building confidence, being productive, and looking after our well-being. Generally, it's probably a pretty good idea to try to stay out of the freak-out zone as much as possible. You'll probably still find yourself there from time to time, and that's okay. But when you do, you can bring some self-compassion because you know that you're not freaking out because there's something wrong with you. It's just that the challenge is too big for where you are right now, and you might need to just wind it back or get yourself some extra support. The green comfort zone is a nice and important place to be from time to time. It's a place where we can have a bit of a break, we can integrate what we've been learning out in the growth zone, and we can restock our courage stores ready to get back out there. But if we stay there too long, we can start to get stale. Life might start to feel a bit monotonous. We're not learning a lot or growing much when we're in our comfort zones. So balance is critical. It's like riding a bike. If you watched a slowed down video of someone on a bike, you'd see that they weren't constantly balanced. They get slightly off balance to the left, correct themselves and get slightly off balance to the right and correct themselves again. In the same way, we need to be mindful of balance in our own lives. A bit of discomfort is really healthy. Too much is not. So it's about being aware of our needs and responding by gently pushing ourselves into discomfort when we need it and finding ways to support ourselves when we're freaking out. Looking at these circles, where would you say you're spending the majority of your time at the moment? Does that feel like the right balance for you at this point in time? If you've been avoiding getting out of your comfort zone, What would it take for you to step into the growth zone and let yourself feel the discomfort and benefit from the challenge, the growth, the learning? And what could be the smallest step into your growth zone that you could take today? Now, if you're feeling constantly stressed, like your challenges are way beyond what you can manage, how could you create a little more time for yourself in your comfort zone? And what support could you tap into to help you bridge that gap between your ability and the challenge? And remember, it's normal to wobble, but being mindful of where you're at and giving yourself what you need can help you regain balance before you fall right off your bike. And it can help you live a thriving and successful life. Now, if you'd like more helpful tips like this for creating a life you love by loving yourself first, make sure you follow me on Facebook at Susan Bennett Coaching. I'll see you there.